and welcome to Discover Oklahoma. I'm Lauren Nelson.
And I'm Dean O'Lally. Today we're coming to you from the Oklahoma Aquarium in Jinx.
There's just so much to see and explore here, including a pair of landlocked loggerhead sea turtles. We may be hundreds of miles from the ocean, but they are right at home here on Sea Turtle Island. We'll show you more exhibits throughout the show. But first, we've got something to celebrate, the anniversary of our great state song.
The Rodgers and Hammerstein hit actually turned 75 this year, and the great folks at the Oklahoma History Center are marking the occasion.
Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain, and the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain.
Rodgers and Hammerstein's Oklahoma changed the course of American musical theater, and this exhibit, called Rodgers and Hammerstein's Oklahoma, the Birth of Modern Musical Theater and a New Image for the State, celebrates the 75th anniversary of the debut of the amazing Broadway production. On paper, there was no indication the show would be such a success and capture the attention of millions since its opening. So I asked Natalie Fiegel, curator of exhibits at the Oklahoma History Center, what captured her attention when putting the exhibit together.
For me, the most interesting things was the background with Lynn Riggs and his play Green Grow the Lilacs. I think that's just something that most people, they don't make the connection that that's where Rodgers and Hammerstein got Oklahoma from, that it is actually based on an Oklahoman play. And so that to me was just the most fascinating to put together.
The exhibit will walk you through all kinds of fascinating elements of the musical and the song Oklahoma. Now, a lot of the props, sets, and backdrops were burned from the original Broadway production, but there are still a few important artifacts on display.
The most important piece we have in the exhibit is Oscar Hammerstein's desk that he actually used to write Oklahoma, that he wrote out the words for. That's the most pressing. Otherwise, we have items from George Nye and his time in office when he helped make Oklahoma the state song. We have, of course, the album, the movie, you know, various programs and whatnot from the 1940s from when it was on Broadway.
Some parts of the exhibit will certainly create some fun toe-tapping moments, and other interactive displays elevate the entire experience of walking through here.
I like the exhibit. I'm a native Oklahoman, so I love to see the Oklahoma things.
While the exhibit creates various connections on different levels for the general public, for those who worked to put all this together, there were strong personal connections as well.
So it feels different than a lot of exhibits in that sense, that it was more personal, and I had a little bit more of an emotional attachment to it because I grew up in Oklahoma. I'm native Oklahoman, and so I grew up singing these songs and seeing the movie and the play, and so all of it was very personal.
The exhibit reaches all generations, from those who have fond memories of the musical or the movie, but for the younger generation, well, they can be inspired to see the musical or the movie and also find out the origins of our state song. But there's also a sense of pride and something even more to be found here.
I think it can connect us to the state in more ways than people would recognize, and just the Oklahomans who have been in the play and what it's meant in that regard. And that 75 years later, it's still one of the most popular Rodgers and Hammerstein shows to be produced throughout the world.
The Oklahoma History Center in Oklahoma City is open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Active military, veterans, and their immediate families are admitted for free. Check out their website for discounts on group tours, children, and senior citizens.
All right, from one type of history to another, there's a unique outdoor experience in Tulsa that you just can't get anywhere.
And by outdoor, we mean an open cockpit World War II airplane. Jason Grubbs takes us to the skies in this next story.
This is what is called a PT-19. The P stands for primary and T is trainer.
This very plane was used to train pilots for World War II. She rolled off the assembly line in 1942 and today looks brand new.
We are very passionate about what we do. There aren't very many of these aircraft left, and to have flying examples in Tulsa that people can come get up close personal with, go fly in, is really a rare opportunity.
The PT-19 is part of the Spirit of Tulsa, a squadron with the Commemorative Air Force. The nonprofit group started in the 50s after these beautiful birds started disappearing.
Their mission was to rescue those World War II airplanes, restore them and fly them so that future generations wouldn't forget the sacrifices that the pilots made during World War II.
This open cockpit plane arrived in Tulsa during the 80s, and volunteers spent several years restoring her. Many of the parts original.
They sanded, they glued, they hammered, they did all kinds of things.
From a distance, these planes look like they're made out of metal. In some parts, they actually are. But down here, it's reinforced fabric. Kind of feels like a drum head. And sounds like one, too.
Not only was it light, but it was also less expensive because the metal needed to be used for things like weapons and bombs and larger airplanes that couldn't be made out of fabric.
During the week, volunteer mechanics meticulously maintained the aircraft. But on Saturdays, it's all about flying.
If I was going to describe the experience, it would be like flying in a flying convertible.
It was great. It was a blast. I enjoyed it a lot.
It's Tony DeGiusti's 66th birthday, and this ride is part of his tour of Route 66. Once the vintage goggles and helmet were on, he was ready to take off on a 20-minute flight over Tulsa.
We could see downtown Tulsa, golf courses, the fairgrounds, the horizon was beautiful.
When they land, the universal response that we get is a smile and a thumbs up.
And that's exactly what we saw from Tony. Flights start at $150. You can book your seat and buy gift certificates online for this plane or the Stinson 108, which can hold 3 passengers. Before the war, it was used for fun.
And then once the war happened, an organization called the Civil Air Patrol started asking people to use their airplanes as sub-hunters. So the Stinson Voyager would fly up and down the coast looking for German submarines.
One day, there will be a 3rd aircraft added to the fleet. And there's no doubt, when this PT-26 is finished, she'll be just as pretty as the other gals in the hangar.
Gonna be doing it again?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
At Jones Riverside Airport in Tulsa, I'm Jason Grubbs for Discover Oklahoma.
I'm going to have to give that a try. Now, every November, the Spirit of Tulsa holds a hangar dance to raise money to maintain and operate the planes.
There's a big band and the dance floor is surrounded by World War II planes. You can find out more about that event at their website, caftulsa.org.
Coming up on Discover Oklahoma.
Because when I have an art opening, I have jugglers, I have fire breathers. I'm trying to get an elephant at the next one.
Wait until you hear where you can see all of that.
But as far as I know, it's the oldest restaurant in Enid in its original building in the original location.
Plus, we take a trip back in time and sample some of the tastiest burgers in the state.
Now we've kind of grown to one of the biggest cookbook selections in the state.
And a trip to the store that promises to kick your home cooking up a notch. It's all coming up right here on Discover Oklahoma. The Oklahoma Department of Agritourism salutes Arrows Family Farm in Earlsboro, a great place for fall fun.
Set a course for excitement with your free Oklahoma Outdoor Guide. It's your all-in-one handbook for outdoor inspiration. Cabins, campsites, comfy lodges, breathtaking adventures, and so much more. Order yours at travelok.com.
Welcome back to Discover Oklahoma, coming to you from the Oklahoma Aquarium in Jinx. We're taking a look at the Shark Adventure exhibit. This includes a tunnel where you walk through so you're completely surrounded by these ocean giants. Or if you head down towards Pauls Valley, you may find yourself completely surrounded by art.
Lucas Ross is going to introduce us to that town's local legend, the very talented Kevin Stark, and this is his eccentric art gallery.
Hey, Lucas here in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. I'm going to check out the Stark Art Gallery.
Welcome to Stark Art Gallery. This is where I do all the stuff I do.
What can people expect when they come to this studio?
A lot of different stuff. I say I've never let a lack of knowledge or talent keep me from doing anything I want to do. Every New Year's Eve, I do a self-portrait. I started on New Year's Eve and I finished it on New Year's Day. And I've been doing that since 1979. This one is me as an action figure. That was me with short hair and a beard. This is a piece I'm working on now, and you can see the photos over there that I work from. I illustrate children's books, I do comics, I do all kinds of stuff. In here, we have a lot of color. I did all the art. We have gods and goddesses all throughout the room. I've created a new mythology called Starkism, and in Starkism there's a god for everything. This is McMurk, he is the god of fast food. This is Retalius, he's the god of vengeance. This is Phalenica, she is the goddess of cats. And then this is Combustus, he is the god of fire. And then, yes, we have the flying squid up above.
How did I miss that?
I've built the theater that you see here, which is where my band performs, and we do soundtrack music for Mexican movies that haven't been made yet. I come up with a plot, a movie plot, the characters, everything. I write a brief synopsis, and then I come up with the soundtrack list of songs, and then have the band perform that.
You even do the movie posters that go with the movies that have yet to be made, but you have the music for them.
Right. I have the music, I have the movie posters. Gosh, if somebody wanted to just come in and make the movies, to me, that's the easy part.
Yeah, that's all that's left.
We have revenge films, adventure films, superhero films, vampire movies, Julio and Juliet, Mexican Space Command, the Juarez Bikers Club, Mexican Ninja, which is one of my personal favorites. When we perform live, it's just like my art openings. They're always different, and they take on a carnival atmosphere. So I will have guys breathing fire. I'll have people dressed in costume that come out, and I don't usually tell the band what's going to happen. So it's a surprise to them, too. It's a wild night, a wild show, and then we, as the band, will dress like the movie. And the shows are always free.
Really?
Yeah. Every fifth Friday art walk, the gallery's open. It's open other times, too, but that's when you really get to see the show. Because when I have an art opening, I have jugglers, I have fire breathers. I'm trying to get an elephant at the next one. And so, plus there are several other galleries and things here in Pauls Valley.
Well, that was a look at the Stark Art Gallery in Pauls Valley. I'm Lucas, discovering Oklahoma.
You'll find the Stark Art Gallery just down the street from the Toy and Action Figure Museum at 118 West Charles in Pauls Valley. Hours vary, but you can always catch them during the art walk. All right, from one local legend to another.
We found a legendary drive-in in Enid that's been serving up the best burgers around since 1953. For more than 50 years, Lenox Drive-In has been serving up delicious burgers, fries, and cherry limeades, and they're still going strong.
But as far as I know, it's the oldest restaurant in Enid in its original building in the original location.
Ryan Mercer took over the Enid staple at the beginning of the year after being a fan for a long time.
I remember eating here as a child, so when I found out it was for sale, came up here, tried the food, and I thought, wow, this is really good. Still as good as I remember when I was a kid. But I'd always wanted to own a little restaurant, you know, and so it was a match made in heaven.
People flock to enjoy the burgers at Lenox, and Ryan says the key is in the grill they cook the burgers on.
It's been here long enough to where it's good and seasoned. You can almost cook these burgers itself. When people come here for the first time and they're looking at the menu and I can see them struggling, I always recommend just get a good old-fashioned cheeseburger. Can't go wrong then.
There are also specialty burgers like the Hickory Burger and the Inferno Burger, but the fan favorite is the Mushroom Swiss Burger.
Mushroom Swiss.
Is that what you get every time?
That's what we get every time.
One of my favorites is the Mushroom Swiss Burger, and of course a side of tots.
Probably our most popular specialty burger. It's just a standard burger patty with Swiss cheese on it, but we make a special mushroom gravy here in-house. It's a hit. People love it.
Besides the burgers, Lenox serves up delicious fries, onion strings, and other fried delicacies like fried pickles and cheddar bites. As much as Lenox Drive-In is known for burgers, they're just as famous for their cherry limeades.
We still make our cherry limeades the old school way. We use simple syrup, soda water, freshly squeezed lime, and our cherries. And we use our cherry syrup. The attention to detail, the customer service, calling them by their names, knowing their orders, remembering their orders, it all just kind of adds to the credibility of Lenox Drive-In as an establishment.
So come try a piece of Enid history at Lenox Drive-In.
Yeah, it's great food. It's a long-time Enid favorite.
The Lenox Drive-In is open 6 days a week, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, 10 to 4 p.m. on Saturday, and they're closed on Sundays. You'll find them at 1110 North Grand in Enid.
Coming up on Discover Oklahoma.
You don't get food like this anywhere else in Western Oklahoma.
They say it's the best in the West. We check out what they're serving up.
We do have quite a big selection of just local products from Oklahoma.
And keeping it local the next time you're in the kitchen when Discover Oklahoma continues. Great travel tips anytime, like Discover Oklahoma on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Create your ultimate Oklahoma bucket list with this year's free Oklahoma travel guide. Discover captivating culture, heart-pounding adventure, ultimate relaxation. This bucket list can't be missed. Order yours free today at travelok.com.
Welcome back to Discover Oklahoma. We're having such a great time at the Oklahoma Aquarium in Jinx. This is a look at the Extreme Amazon exhibit. Kids can crawl through the tunnels under the water's surface. Definitely a unique experience.
That's right, and if it's a unique shopping experience that you are after, you are in luck.
Photojournalist Casey Kennedy takes us to an Oklahoma City shop that's all about the oil.
I had a love of specialty food from a young age. Spent a lot of time in New England growing up and saw a lot of the specialty foods up there that we could not find here, and being able to give customers a quality product was our main goal. We started out pretty small with our cookbook selection, but now we've kind of grown to one of the biggest cookbook selections in the state, so we're excited about that. With all the products in the store, we have small batch specialty food products. We have the oils and the vinegars. We have cookware, platinum silicone cookware. We also have an exclusive in the city with Finex cast iron, just out of Oregon. With these small batch specialty food products, we've really focused on trying to stay local or within the U.S. We do have quite a big selection of just local products from Oklahoma. We recently moved locations, and what we had the opportunity to do at our old location was talk to the customers about their struggles with the product. And the majority of those were, I have my whole counter is lined with these, oils and vinegars that are delicious, but I don't know how to use them. So when we moved over to this location, that was one thing we really emphasized was tasting classes, cooking classes, showing customers actually how to use the product as opposed to just buying it and letting it sit there. My husband Rain does the extra virgin olive oil tasting classes, so kind of goes over defects of bad oils and positive notes of good oils that actually deliver health benefits, and bringing in the guest chefs and having customers be able to ask, a chef from Broadway 10 how to actually make a steak, or a private chef how they can use ingredients that are in your pantry and incorporate them into a great meal. To get certified for an extra virgin olive oil tasting expert or sommelier, you have to go through a class in Italy, and it was the first time that these professors came over from Italy and actually trained a group of 5 different people. So Rain was one of those. So he's, at that time, was one of 5 in the country.
We go really in depth, and we like to educate people about buying good olive oil, because they've been deceived by these big companies for a long time that have been importing to North America, because apparently we didn't know that much about olive oil, but now consumers are so much more educated, and we're just trying to pass that education along.
They made an assortment of
It's a fun way to learn about what you're consuming.
So this is the charred grapefruit tonic.
Once you have a tasting, you know more than 99% of the country about olive oil.
We try and do 2 classes every month, at least through summer and fall.
It's a really fun experience for a lot of people.
You'll find the Oil Tree at 7646 Northwestern in Oklahoma City. They're open 6 days a week, Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., noon to 5 on Sunday, and they're closed on Monday.
Up next on Discover Oklahoma.
I don't think there's any nights go by we don't have Oklahoma City, Edmond, Norman people. And then it's not unusual to get Altus, get a lot of Elk City people, get Woodward people on a much more regular basis.
Talk about dinner worth the drive. See what has folks from all over Oklahoma making the drive to this hotspot when Discover Oklahoma continues.
Want to discover even more about the show? Go online and watch Discover Oklahoma anywhere, anytime. Catch up on missed episodes, track down interesting locations, and submit your own story ideas. Start exploring today at discoveroklahomatv.com.
We've had so much fun today at the Oklahoma Aquarium.
We have indeed, but guess what? As always, we have worked up an appetite.
That's right.
So it's time to head out to western Oklahoma for a really, really good meal. Darren Brown's going to take us to White Dog Hill.
You don't get food like this anywhere else in western Oklahoma. Every time you come, it's something different, and it always tastes so good.
White Dog Hill sits just outside Clinton, on, well, the top of a hill overlooking the town. The building has had a long life, first as a farmhouse and then as a local country club. Owner Nelson King bought it not knowing exactly what he might do with it.
We had a burger and we had one like 10-ounce ribeye, and that was it. People just going, you can't open with a burger in 10. Well, we have to. We just need to get the doors open. But we really, in a way, don't know what we're doing. It's such a grand experiment. My background is anything but culinary or restaurateuring. So we opened with the two, went over fine.
The menu has grown significantly over the years. You can still get a burger or a ribeye, but there's so much more.
I don't think there's any nights go by we don't have Oklahoma City, Edmond, Norman people. And then it's not unusual to get Altus, get a lot of Elk City people, get Woodward people on a much more regular basis.
Yes, you see, folks in Oklahoma love good food, and we're not afraid of a little road trip to find it.
We try to do what people here are used to, but do it differently. Do things that are a little bit more appealing that you don't find necessarily everywhere else, and do it so that it's fresh and it's good quality.
As White Dog's executive chef, Jacqueline knows a thing or two about quality. She trained in London, and her dishes get thumbs up from the locals.
Well, we had our wedding in town in Clinton, and then we came out here for our reception. And we had all our friends and family here, and they closed down the restaurant for us. We had a smorgasbord buffet of a bunch of finger foods.
So good.
When I came here, I was horrified that people's vegetable choices were green beans and corn. I thought I have to change that, and we have patrons that say to me now, I don't eat Brussels sprouts, but I will come here and eat your Brussels sprouts.
I can't say for sure that I'll commit to the Brussels sprouts, but I can highly recommend the crab cakes. And I can't leave you wondering where that name came from. Okay, Nelson did have a dog whose name was, you guessed it, White Dog. He passed a few years ago, but his buddy, Beans, still makes the rounds, picking up his steak scraps almost every night. And, Nelson says, after White Dog got the restaurant, he had to give Beans the bar. And when you come to White Dog Hill, you're going to receive fantastic food, fantastic service, and fantastic Oklahoma views. Just outside Clinton, Oklahoma, I'm Darren Brown. Discover Oklahoma.
And no matter where your next road trip takes you, the new Discover Oklahoma Dining Guide will help you find a great place to eat. Just log on to our website, travelok.com, and click Request Free Brochures to get your copy.
We owe a big thank you to the great folks here at the Oklahoma Aquarium for hosting us this week. You'll find the aquarium just off Main Street in Jinx at 300 Aquarium Drive. They're open every day 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and open late on Tuesdays until 9. You can learn more about the exhibits, admission, and special events on their website, okaquarium.org.
And coming up next Saturday on Discover Oklahoma, we're headed out on a river cruise. Find out how you can take a ride too.
Plus, dinner worth the drive. See what they're serving up that has Oklahomans make the drive to Altus. It's all coming up next week right here on Discover Oklahoma.
So until next time, remember,
there's always something to discover in Oklahoma.